Hello! Oh my god. I have not been in front of this camera in a long time. How long has it been since I've posted? I filmed things here and there, but honestly, I can't even tell you what I filmed, and none of it will make one complete video. It's a lot of just random clips of things that I was gonna film, and then I just literally gave up after one 10-minute session of filming. I hit the worst reading slump ever. I will give you an idea about how bad it is. I'll include a snip of my Fable month by month stat of how many books I read. It was so bad. It was so bad. We did so good starting in the beginning of the year. We had a little bit of a slowdown around May, June, July, which is fair. Hey, I was literally moving to a whole nother city. And then August, really did good August. And I read one book that we will get to in this video that just really, I think put me in a reading slump. And I didn't realize it put me in a reading slump until I was organizing all the reads I have for 2025, which isn't much. If you're gonna look at this year compared to last year, it is literally 50% less, which is something. Besides all of that, the point of today's video is to do a reading update. That's not the right word. It's been so long, I'm literally forgetting the right terminology. A reading wrap up. That's what I was trying to think of. A reading wrap up of everything I've read in 2025, because I did not do a mid-year wrap up. I didn't do any sort of monthly wrap up this year. For all you guys know, I only read 5 books. Maybe 1, 2. Hello? 2. This is not going to be a ranking video. This is just purely going to be me going book by book, chronological order, talking about what I remember, honestly, because I also didn't write a lot of reviews this year, which, hindsight, I should have. But we're just going to go off of what emotion comes up when I talk about said book. So let's get into it. So let's talk books per month. I already showed you a little snip of the Fable one. This is my nice fancy bar graph. We started real good with 3 books in January, 5 in February, 3 in March, 2 in April. Hey, this is when I started packing. 1 in May. That's when I actually moved. 1 in June, vacation and getting set up after the move. 5 in July. I thought I did 5 in August. Anyways, apparently 5 in July, 1 in August, 1 in September, none in October. Can you tell where the reading slump was? None in October, 2 in November, and 1 in December. In terms of ratings, we were very varied this year, which I actually really like. My average rating overall, surprisingly, 3.2. Actually, that's not surprising. We did surprisingly have 5 5-star books. I don't know how I had 5 5-star books. Those must have been way early on in the beginning of the year. We had 7 4-star, which, again, not bad. I think that's pretty good. And then 9 books ranging from 4.25 to 4.75. We only had 2 books that were in the 3 range, and then 1 book that was a 2-star and 1 book that was a 1-star. And technically that 1-star book is a DNF, but again, we'll get to it when we get to it. I read enough of it. I almost finished a book, and then I got so enraged, I just had to rate it a 1-star. I really did try this year to be a little bit more critical in my ratings, because I felt like last year, if I liked a book, everything was 5-star, and if I didn't like a book, I was still rating it 4 stars. So I did try to take some time after finishing a book to kind of really sit on it and rate it accordingly. And even then, I definitely also feel like there are some 4-star books on here that probably are more 3.5 stars, and I just, for whatever reason, never put them as that. I put them as 4-star. But regardless, we all know that a star rating honestly has no real rhyme or reason. there is no real rhyme or reason as to where I put things. It definitely is kind of just a feeling in that moment, and I'm trying to get better at it, but I digress. We only read 25 books this year, so this will hopefully be a short wrap up. But let's get into it. We're gonna go in chronological order, and we are starting off strong with the first book I read this year, Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands by Heather Fawcett. If y'all know anything about me, y'all know I love Emily Wilde. We finished the trilogy. This was actually so funny because the book came out, and the first 2 books I have in the Barnes & Noble edition, which is like the feathered edge. I don't even know what it's called. But, you know, the paperwork, it doesn't line up right, and it looks journally. And I did not want to wait until November to read the 3rd book, so I got the UK version of the book. And you can't tell, because my head is blocking, and the focus is off, but she is much taller than the other 2. But anyways, that's besides the point. Stellar end to the trilogy. I remember being so happy reading this book. I remember loving every second of it. I read this book in a total of 6 days. That was astounding, honestly, that I read it only in 6 days, and I read it literally in the peak of the holidays. And I just loved it. I love the story. I love Emily. I love Wendell. I am already thinking about rereading the trilogy. As you can probably assume, I rated this a 5-star, and it was such a good start to the year. If you are someone who is on the fence about Emily Wilde, I promise, just give it a shot. It is such a cozy fantasy. It is such a fun little world. The dry humor kills me. The way Emily and Wendell interact is so worth it. It has the perfect romance subplot in it. And it's so good. It's so good. The writing you'll have to get used to. But if you could just get through it, I promise it's worth all the hype. All right, second book I finished, A Court of Silver Flames. Now this one did take me 37 days. I actually started this December of 2024, and we did not finish it until January, partly because it's a buddy read. My buddy reader is probably watching this, and I'm giving her a side eye right now. But it was partly because of that. But I was actually really happy to read this and finish the series. And this isn't my favorite out of the entire ACOTAR series, but I still did give it a 4.5, mainly because I loved the found family aspect of it. I really loved Nessa's story. I think she is one of the most perfectly flawed characters that you want to fight for. I know that may sound very different from half of the ACOTAR fandom, because a lot of people actually don't like Nessa, but I think she was great. I think her story was great. I do feel like it suffered just from length. It suffered from being too long. It did not need to be that long. SJM, we need to start, cutting some things out of books. Not all of them need to be however many pages. I don't even remember how many pages this book was. 750 pages. That book did not need to be 757 pages. So that's my only criticism, and I think that was the only reason why I really rated it a 4.5. But overall, a solid book in the ACOTAR series. I don't want to say it's a finishing book, because truthfully, I think the ACOTAR series should be just the trilogy, and then everything else is just an added story. But regardless, I really enjoyed it, and I am hopeful for the next book whenever it comes, because who knows? Only Sarah and her publishers know when this next book is coming out. Next was Flirting with Disaster by Naina. It's probably Naina or something like that. I'm so sorry. Y'all know I should honestly look up these authors' names, and I don't mean this in any mean way. I should genuinely look up their names and learn how to pronounce them before coming on here, but I often do not. So, Flirting with Disaster by Naina Kumar. It is a standalone. It was a super short audiobook. I needed something just to listen to. It's a second chance romance. I'm not really into second chance romance per se, but it was pretty good. It was average. I did give it a 4.25. Looking back now, if I had to re-rate it, I'd probably say a 3.5, only because I don't remember much about this book. I remember the characters having a basically forced proximity because they are stuck together in this house. I remember that it was basically college romance, and then they just fell out of it because of, I believe, family or career pressure. And it was good, but definitely not apparently rememberable enough for me to even fathom why I rated it a 4.25. It does have to do more with Indian culture and a lot of family pressure in that aspect and that's kind of the reason why the two main characters had their conflict. But it is worth a shot. I don't know if I would ever have probably enjoyed it as much as I did if I read it physically, but in audio format, it's pretty good. All right, next was Onyx Storm. I'm not going to talk about Onyx Storm because I do know I have an Onyx Storm reading vlog with all of my thoughts. I believe it's non-spoiler. I will post the picture here. Not that I have many videos for you to sift through, but I did rate it a 4.25. I honestly think that if I were to rate it now, I'd probably rate it a 4. I think it had its faults. I think, unfortunately, it also suffered from the too long, should have been shorter issue that a lot of romantasy fantasy books have nowadays. But other than that, I think it's a good book for the world of 4th Wing. I am still waiting for the announcement for the next book, but it's okay. Miss Rebecca needs her time. We are all understanding. I think this book still got a lot of hate it didn't deserve, but who am I but a girl who likes more fantasy than romantasy? So followed up Onyx Storm with Beach Read by Emily Henry. That was a nice 4-star rating. I actually think if I were to rate Beach Read now, I'd probably give it a 3.5. It doesn't top Happy Place for me. It was a little bit more predictable. I think the Rivals to Lovers was cute. I do think that was cute. Other than that, I can't even think about the main characters' names, which is wild because I do want to see the movie. Is that one becoming a movie or is that one becoming a show? Either way, it was okay. It was okay. I think I would rate it a 3.5 now. Not bad. It's just not Happy Place. After that was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I loved Just for the Summer. This was a 5-star. I still would rate this one 5 stars. This is my favorite Abby Jimenez book so far. I have not actually reached for any of her other books after the one that will be named after this one. And that's probably because of the one that will be named next. I think they did a fake dating trope. I loved it, whatever it was. Or they just like dated really slowly. I loved the will they, won't they. I loved the issues that the main girl goes through. Again, I cannot remember anyone's name. Hey, it literally fleets, just runs out of my brain after I finish the book. But it was good. I recommend Just for the Summer. If you are new to Abby Jimenez, I definitely recommend Just for the Summer. That one was so good. I really want to read Say You'll Remember Me next at some point. Hey, I have a lot of books on my shelves, okay? And as you can tell, we only read 25 books. So, will I get to it? Who knows? But we'll see. But Just for the Summer was really good. It was really good. And after Beach Read, it was like, again, going on a high. It was like going on a roller coaster, just to then follow up with another book of hers, the Happy Ever After playlist, and literally plummet down to the ground. And that is the first book I DNF'd this year and rated 1 star because I did get like 90% through it, but the male lead was absolutely so insufferable. All I can remember about him is that he would get so irrationally angry and yell. He would yell at the main girl, and he would, I think there's a scene, the scene that made me drop this book is that he gets so angry he punches something. And I was like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. You had me in the beginning because the concept is cool, but I'm good. I don't need to actually read any more of that. And that's kind of what happened. And yeah, that put me off her books for the rest of the year because apparently I never read another one of her books this year. Hey, I'm a Bobo. I just realized I said Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands is the 3rd book. That was the 2nd book. That was the 2nd book. The story's still about me buying the 3rd book of it. Again, you can't see it. The story about me buying the 3rd book, which is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. That's still true. That's the facts. She is still large. I bought it because I did not want to wait for the Barnes & Noble release. I'm sorry. Everything I still said about Emily Wilde is true. Wow, I read the 2nd book at the beginning of this year. I thought that was the 3rd. That means the 3rd just came out. Anyways, I just wanted to clear the air because I just realized that the 3rd book is actually on this list farther down. After a horrible horrible, horrible romance book. We went back to fantasy, and this time we went to Chinese mythology fantasy, which was new to me, and we read Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Daughter of the Moon Goddess, I rated a 4.5. I feel like now it should be like a 4. I did really enjoy this book. It has betrayal, it has prophecy, kind of like a forbidden love. I really rooted for one character in specific that I will not mention because it is a spoiler. And just know that it is because of said character that I have a really hard time reading the sequel of this duology, the ending book, because I just have a feeling I know how this is all gonna go, and it's not gonna go the way I want. Not in a bad way. It's going in the fashion that you kind of expect it to, in terms of the romance and the kind of betrayal villain aspect. But I just so desperately wanted to go differently, and I'm really afraid. So I have not finished it, but it is a really good book. It was very interesting, and it was a little difficult to get into just because of my lack of knowledge around the mythology. So it has a learning curve, but if you want to try a fantasy book that has more just Chinese mythology that feels very different from what is on fantasy shelves primarily in the bookstore, I think you should give it a shot. I think it's one of the more intriguing reads that I have had this year. It did take me a while to get through. It took me a whopping 13 days, which actually, now that I'm saying that out loud, that's not a while compared to some of the other books I have on here. But regardless, it is a book I do still recommend, even if I would only rate it like a 4.25 now. It's still worth giving a shot. We followed up Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which kind of put my mind through a ringer, with a middle grade book that my one and only father wrote. Hey, plug for my dad. It's called The Missing Moo. It is a mystery book. It is actually part of a series. It follows Emily, I believe her name is, in her going to this farm with her aunt and uncle, solving the mystery of where this prized cow has gone. And honestly, it did make me laugh because it kind of has like a dark, deep underbelly almost about the this cow and just prized cows and raising animals that win county fairs or city fairs. And it's really good if you have anyone in elementary or middle grade that is looking for a mystery. It's a good book, and I'm not saying that just because it's my dad. I'm saying that because it is an intriguing story. And he also has a sequel. I have not read the sequel yet, but he just released a sequel. I cannot remember the title of it right now, and I do not have it in this room with me because it is in our bedroom. But check it out if you have anyone who is in middle grade that likes mysteries. After that, we went to Frida McFadden. You're gonna see I read a lot of Frida, I can't speak. I read a lot of Frida this year in an effort to kind of prevent the reading slump that was just really oncoming. At this point, it is now March. Things were slowing down, but not to a point of a standstill. So I kept it rolling with the boyfriend. I actually believe this was a part of my book club, that my book club, is kind of dead right now. Hey, if you still want to join, I'm gonna probably restart it in January, now that I'm kind of back into things. But this was, I believe, the first book we read in my book club, and the first Frida book I read. I think this was my first experience with her. It was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed it. I rated it a 4 stars. 4.25, not a 4. A 4.25 star. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I was not sure who actually was the bad guy the whole time. And Frida has this way of, yes, sometimes it's too predictable and it is a little bit cliche, but she still manages most of the time to like pull the hood off your eyes or the cover off your eyes at the end, and you realize you actually had no idea who the real villain was or what actually was happening. So definitely a good read. I do listen to her books primarily on audio because I think the narrators do a stellar job, and I think mystery in audio format just does so much. I don't know, thrillers and mysteries, they just really click to me with audiobooks. I know it's not her most highly rated book, but still worth giving a shot. At this point, I felt confident enough to start Throne of Glass. This, I think, was supposed to be a buddy read, and then I said to my buddy, I'm gonna read it. So I read Throne of Glass. I rated Throne of Glass a 4-star. I still stand by that rating. I think the introductory book to the whole series is pretty good. I have some more comments about this book once I get to Assassin's Blade, but overall, really good. It's a stereotypical girl going through trials in order to save her own skin. Dorian, the man that you are. The man, you're not really a man, but the man that you are. Oh, I fell in love with him in this book. I always get confused because people call him Kale. I don't know. It sounds like Kale. He's fine. He's not bad, but Dorian. And then Selena, super cool. She's such an intriguing character. I do feel like Throne of Glass does not give you enough into her character to make you fall in love with her immediately, but that is very quickly remedied as you continue reading the series into where I am now, because I'm still not done. I'm in Hairfire, haven't started it, but definitely good. I do think it's a slow start. I did have to listen to audiobook to finish it. It's not bad. It's just an introductory book to an 8-book series, so it, you're warned. It's a little slow. I think I said that I rated Throne of Glass 4.25. I rated it a 4. I'm so sorry. My Excel sheet is tiny. The font is tiny, and there's a lot of rows. So please forgive me. But of course, I followed up Throne of Glass with Crown of Midnight, which I also rated 4 stars. It took me longer than Throne of Glass to get through. Throne of Glass was 11 days. Crown of Midnight was 19 days. Do I remember anything of significance from Crown of Midnight? Absolutely not. Am I worried about when I start Heir of Fire in the upcoming months? Absolutely, because I literally do not remember anything except who died in it. Hey, spoiler, someone dies. Actually, a lot of people die, but one character in particular dies, and that a romance fizzled out, kind of didn't fizzle out. I don't know. It's left hanging in the air. And I remember not really caring about said romance, which actually isn't a hot take in the Throne of Glass fandom. So that's a plus for me. But it was good. It was good. It was definitely quicker pace than Throne of Glass, which I did enjoy, but it just took me a long time to get through. And that is because at this time, I was starting to prepare for moving and doing a lot of things in my personal life. So my reading just kind of slowed because of that. Not necessarily the book itself, definitely not a slump, just other things were taking priority. And yeah, I truly do not remember much from Crown of Midnight. It is not my favorite so far out of the first 3 books in the series that I've read, but it's not the worst book I've read this year. Nothing can be worse than the Happily Ever After playlist. So yeah, I know that's not a lot of information, but that's truly all I got in my noggin about that book. Followed up Crown of Midnight with 1 by 1 by Frida McFadden. I actually really enjoyed this one too. This was 4 stars. This felt like a typical B-rated horror movie that you would just find on like Pluto TV or something. That's the best way I could describe this book. It follows a husband and wife who are going through some marital issues, and they are going on their annual trip with their group of besties that also have their own issues in their personal life. But everyone tries to be perfect because, they're supposed to be perfect. And they literally get lost in the woods going to this retreat hotel, I believe, that they were supposed to. And you can only imagine, what happens when you have like 6, I believe, grown adults that are semi-affluent, just lost in the woods with no cell service and just themselves to survive with their high tension friendships and marital issues. So good, actually, which is again crazy because I don't think this has a good rating on Fable, but so good. Again, maybe it's because I listened to it in audio and maybe the narrator just elevates it more, but I recommend 1 by 1. I think it's underrated, truthfully. I think this is the most underrated book I've read probably out of the entire year. So good. If you're into that, I feel like you have to be into those kind of, like I said, B-rated horror movies where you just know they're going into the woods and they're gonna get lost and things are gonna go crazy. And you just have to like that. And you will like this book. Then I read Fearless, which I do know I filmed a vlog about Fearless, so I'm not going to go into depth about Fearless. I rated Fearless a 2-star. A sad end to my journey through the Powerless trilogy. I have not picked up the novella that Lauren Roberts released shortly after Fearless, which I think is Fearful. Whatever one is about Kit. I have not. I see it every time I go into Barnes & Noble because, of course, Powerless still has a chokehold on the young adult fantasy corner that is always in Barnes & Noble, and I just haven't picked it up. I'm not going to, truthfully. That is all I got on Fearless. You can watch the whole video. I go into a lot of depth about my thoughts. So I finished her, and I think she finished me, because afterwards it was a long time until I finished a book. I finished Fearless on May 8th. I moved. Obviously, I picked up the third Emily Wilde's book, and y'all know I love Emily Wilde. It took me a whole month to finish the last installment in that series. That's how much Fearless hurt me. Regardless of the fact it took me a month to read the last installment of Emily Wilde, it was still a 5-star. My statements from the beginning of this video when I thought I was talking about the third book are still true. They're still true. It was so good. There was just a lot going on with the move, and we did go on a vacation to Puerto Rico, which I did post on my Instagram because, hey, my Instagram also died. Not just YouTube. Instagram also died. She's still there. She's just very quiet. Very quiet with seldom posts in between, but I did post about Puerto Rico on there. But it was still a wonderful book. I am actually so excited. I may talk about this in a separate video when I talk about what books I'm looking forward to reading in 2026. But Heather is coming out with a new book. I think it's gonna be a new series, or it might be a standalone. But I'm so excited. I love her writing. I love her writing. These books sold me on her writing. After Emily Wilde, we followed up with Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. If you remember, I read, I believe, all of Ashley's first books last year. The 7-Year Slip, The Dead Romantics, and the other book I'm seemingly cannot remember. I'll post it here just so you can see. I don't remember, but I did read all her other books. She is definitely kind of an auto-listen author for me because I actually don't own any of her physical books. I've all listened to audiobooks, but it was a good book. I rated it a 4. Not my favorite. Not my favorite out of the 4. It is not 7-Year Slip. It is not... A Novel Love Story. Novel Love Story is the other book. It is not 7-Year Slip. It is not The Dead Romantics, but it was still better than A Novel Love Story. And this one was interesting because this is the one where they like get in each other's heads. And it was so cute. It was so cute to have them just like be in each other's heads, because that is such an intimate space. And so out of all of her couples, I do believe that they're the most realistic couple in that sense, just because of how their love develops, because of their literally very intimate connection that they have. I just didn't think it was 7-Year Slip worthy. There's something in the 7-Year Slip. I don't know what it is. Just something in the 7-Year Slip that screams 5-star. And A Novel Love Story is or not Novel Love Story. And Sounds Like Love is what I meant to say, is close with a nice 4-star, but just not there. But still very, very good. If you have not tried any of Ashley's books, please give them a shot. They're the perfect magical realism romance kind of books that just they hit your soul. After Sounds Like Love, we went right back to another suspense and thriller, which this was a 5-star, and I ate this audiobook up in 3 days. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't lying. 3 days, a 5-star audiobook. Listen for the lie. This is another book that really had me guessing if I could actually piece everything together. And I do not. If you're wondering, I did not actually piece it all together. But it really kept me on my toes the entire book. So the premise of this book is that there is this girl who she works for some sort of criminal handler. My camera literally overheated and I had to let it cool down, and I don't remember what I was saying about Listen for the Lie. But give it a shot. Hey, if you like suspense, and it's not really a thriller, but if you really like suspense and mystery, I think you'll really enjoy that book. And then this is where I kind of really started to hit my slump. This is July, right after coming from vacation. I decided to pick up The Night and the Moth. It took me 24 days to read this book. I thought it was going to take me much less because I loved One Dark Window. It is one of my favorite books from last year, and it took me a whopping 24 days to finish. I did not finish it until the middle of July, and I rated it only a 4-star. This book is good. I loved Bartholomew. I love Bartholomew, actually. I didn't love, like, in past tense. I love Bartholomew. I think that the romance plot of it was okay. It was kind of predictable. I think the world itself is good. I honestly am still a little confused about how it functions, and I don't think the lore in terms of the ancient, I don't want to say evils because they're not really evil, but the ancient gods of this world, they don't really make too much sense to me. I finished the book still being confused about the why of things and how they exactly played through, but it was still good enough that I am excited to see how this duology ends, because I believe it's going to be a duology. I'm excited to see how it ends in terms of the fate of our main character at the end of this book. Has me on edge. It does still have me on edge. That's why it is still a 4-star. It just did not grip me as much as One Dark Window did, and I think it's just because the male lead almost felt like a copycat of Raven, but a slightly different font, and the fact that I was still a little confused about the lore. But I digress. It was still good. I think that if you liked One Dark Window, if you like Rachel's writing style, you will still enjoy The Night and the Moth. You just may not enjoy it as much as One Dark Window if One Dark Window to you is like top tier. We did read another Frida McFadden, The Tenant. No, this is not a book club read. At this point, book club had died a little bit. Everyone in my book club hit a reading slump, and we haven't revived it, like I said, since. But I did read The Tenant by Frida McFadden. Again, audiobook, girl. Her books are good in audiobook format. I don't know what to tell you. 3.5 star. I finished it in a week. This one started off so good. It started off so good where I was on the edge of my seat, and then it really does hit a lull. And again, the twist is something I just don't expect. I know a lot of people do say that they predict Frida's twist. I don't. Sorry if that makes me a bobo. I don't predict her twists, actually, whatsoever. But it just did not hit like One by One or The Boyfriend, so I did give it only a 3.5. But essentially, I'm going to try to give a synopsis of some of these books. I'm so sorry. I realize I'm already halfway through this list and I have not given many synopses. Whatever. Summaries. But basically it is about this guy who's a very successful kind of like finance bro figure with his fiance living the dream life that he always wanted to live in New York until he suddenly gets fired out of nowhere for something that he didn't do. And so in order to keep things afloat, they bring on a tenant into their beautiful brownstone, and this guy kind of like just degrades into insanity as he believes that the tenant is purposely out to get him and ruin his life for whatever reason. So really good. Again, one of those where I could not predict who actually was the monster in the scenario. And I think that's what Frida does really well in all of her books. All of her characters are a little cuckoo. They're all a little crazy. And so it makes it hard for you to feel who actually is like the big crazy, you know, like who's the mastermind in the book. And The Tenant had that. It just had that lull. I'm gonna tire y'all. But this book, this isn't my favorite book out of the whole year, but it is one of my top reads for sure. And that is The Wedding People. Oh, it is so good. I rated it a 4.5. I don't remember why I knocked a half star, but so good. My only literary fiction from this entire list of books, because I just don't really tend to gravitate towards books like this. But I picked this up because my buddy read bestie, you know, the one I was talking about earlier and giving a side eye, she highly recommended it. I believe she rated it 5 star. And it's so... I don't even know how to describe this book. It has the perfect dry humor that you would expect from a character that truly just wants to die. That is the premise of the book. The main character wants to die. She feels like she has no purpose. Her husband has left her for another woman, and she was never able to do something. I'm not going to say it because it is kind of a spoiler. Do something that she truly, truly wanted to have in life because of her background. Until she just goes to this hotel where she was going to end it and runs into a group of wedding people, meaning a group of people who were there to celebrate a wedding. And she somehow becomes she somehow just becomes grouped in with the wedding people and the bride specifically and the groom, and it's just such a good story. It's just so good to see how the main character develops, how her mind changes. The other side characters are pretty well fleshed out. And again, the humor is the perfect kind of dry humor for that story. It's not over the top and it's not all the time. And it has such heavy moments throughout the book that are just perfectly balanced with the humor and other things that just go on in the story. So if you're on the fence, I do know that this was a popular book on BookTok. It's not like a hidden gem, but it is worth the read if you are on the fence about this book. It's just so good. Now we have made it to August with This Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi. Man, not only am I rusty, but I'm tired and we are nearing the end and I'm butchering everything. But This Woven Kingdom, I found This Woven Kingdom really intriguing at first, again because of the mythology, and I feel like anything that is different from typical fantasy, such as Daughter of the Moon Goddess and This Woven Kingdom, draws me in immediately because it feels fresh, it feels new. I want to understand what exactly is going on. I want to understand the mythology, and This Woven Kingdom really did do that for most of it. It is a typical romantasy YA book. It has the ancient evil, kind of like a curse, kind of chosen one situation, with a romance subplot. Yeah, I would say it's still a subplot. Deals with mainly, I believe, Persian mythology beliefs, and it's good. It was good. I did enjoy the romance that was in the book. I actually really enjoy the male lead of this book. I know a lot of people actually prefer the second male lead because it is a love triangle series, but I really did prefer the male lead of this story because I have just a heart for characters who have a whole belief system and then realize like they actually don't know anything, and then they can come on the up and up, you know, that basically growth. And I don't feel that from the second male lead too much, but really good. I think it was exactly what it claims to be, a YA romantasy book. This may hurt my bestie because she loves Shatter Me. And this is the same author who wrote Shatter Me. I did still rate it a 4-star. It's not anything stellar, right? Like, it's one of those books where you know what you're getting into and you're getting exactly that. And so it was good for that. I also think maybe if I had read it at a different time than the time that I did, nearing my slump, it probably would have hit a little bit different, but it was good. It was good. I did follow up with a sequel, These Infinite Threads, because I was like, oh man, I'm actually really intrigued. I want to, you know, keep going with this, like what's gonna happen next. And then that one was really mid. I rated that one 3 stars, because it definitely felt like a filler book. It felt too much like a filler book. The romance aspect was just not preferred, and it kind of left me in a position where I don't know if I want to continue the series, partly because I am afraid that by continuing the series I will go back into a reading slump, because I finished this book and then I did not pick up another book until November. I finished it in the beginning of September, so yeah. yeah it is well loved. I think the series is well loved by a lot of people, and it's not, again, that the writing is necessarily bad. It is what it is claiming to be, right? Which I appreciate. I appreciate that, because I hate when a book is something that it is not what it's claiming to be, you know, or vice versa. I'm just worried. I'm worried. I actually went to Barnes & Noble today and I saw the books on the shelves and I was like, It's almost like Powerless, but not, you know, like kind of that same feeling. It gives me that same feeling where I was like, do I really want to keep reading? Not necessarily as bad as Powerless, because that sounds horrible, but not as bad as Powerless, just kind of same mixed feelings. After a month of not reading anything after that book, I did pick up The Assassin's Blade, which brings us back to kind of like the Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight. This was my favorite book so far out of the entire series, primarily because it shows so much of who Selena is, and I think you should, if you have not read Throne of Glass and you want to start it, I am a believer that you should read the book first, Assassin's Blade first, because it gives you so much insight to her character, where when I thought about the things that I could remember of Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense. Like, I understand why she's acting the way she is, more of who she is, and it doesn't spoil anything for those two books by any means. I don't know why people say, like, oh, well, then you won't know who anyone is in Assassin's Blade or vice versa. It's not complex to the point where you'll be completely lost or feel like you just need to put the book down and read Throne of Glass. No, it is just such a good story. I think the pacing of it also perfect. I rated it a 4.25 because, again, it's not anything stellar, but the pacing of it was perfect. I think it just shows so much about who Selena is and her beginning relationships before Throne of Glass, and as to why she ended up in her position in Throne of Glass. And it's just so good. It's so good. It left me excited to continue the story. For the first time out of the entire, all the books I've read, it left me most excited to start Heir of Fire. That's how it left me. And now is my favorite book, my top read. Actually, the top read is tied because these go hand in hand. My top read of 2025. The Will of the Many! Oh my gosh. Thank you to my husband. Shout out to my husband, because I was in such a severe reading slump. I didn't know what to read. I was looking at my shelf and I was like, I literally have no clue. Nothing is calling out to me. And he just gave me The Will of the Many, which I did scoff at him because I was like, this book is literally 600 pages and I can barely finish a 300-page book. What do you mean this is the book that you think I should read? And he's like, just try it, just give it a shot. Loved it. Oh my gosh, I understand the hype. Every bit of hype surrounding The Will of the Many is so well deserved. Granted, The Will of the Many definitely is not a book meant for every reader. It is a little difficult to get into because it drops you right in and it just throws things at you, and eventually in about 100 pages, 150 pages, you start to understand what's going on. The best way I could describe this book is imagine the Roman Empire, but with some sort of magical ability that the reason they became the Roman Empire is by profiting off of the will of literally the people, that allows them to make things and run carts and build buildings and have essentially the strength of like however many people underneath them that they're getting the will from to just be in power and overtake the land around them and become the Roman Empire. That's like the best way I could describe it. It is fantasy mixed in with like history, like mixed in with political intrigue. It's just so good. I think Viz as a character is multifaceted, and I say this because I am in the middle of The Strength of the Few, which is the sequel, and he is such a good, like, gritty, complicated main character, chosen one kind of vibe, and everyone that he is associated with is morally gray to a degree. There is not one good, perfect person, except one, I'll say one, that he interacts with at all. And so it's just seeing how all these like imperfect people are all not just flawed, but like struggling with the system that they all have to be a part of. Some of them are multi-generational in the system. They come from Catan, that's the empire, and so they have a different outlook on things. But even then, even with that outlook, they know that there is a fundamental issue with Catan and how things are operated, but how do you fight back against that? How do you still protect the people of Catan and still have good at the end, you know, without it essentially falling apart by trying to make these changes? So very, very good. It is very, very good. Again, just not something everyone I think will get into, and it's a slow read for sure, at least for me, just because partly because the author is Australian, so everything is written in that kind of English. It's just a lot of information, a lot of you trying to like piece together things, and you read certain details and you're like, but you don't quite get it. You don't quite get it. I really commend the people who can pull theories together for this series, because y'all are a different kind of readers, for sure. Like, I go on the Reddit and I'm like, wow, y'all are so big brained for like even piecing that together, because I'm still stuck like here and y'all are already up here, and we're not the same. But I see where you're coming from, you know? Oh, it's just so good. Definitely my top read of this entire year, and I'm so excited. I'm literally I literally get nervous reading these books. Like, I get anxious in my stomach. Like, I get stomach pain reading these books, which sounds crazy to say because it is the only books that have actually ever given me that kind of feeling in so long that I can remember. It's just so good. And they're fat. The Strength of the Few is 700 something pages, and I'm determined to finish it before the new year, which is in like 2 days. But they're so good. So good. The last book that's on this list is The Housemaid, again, by Frida. I wanted to read this because I just wanted to watch the movie. And so to watch the movie, I wanted to read the book first. This is the highest rated Frida book I have ever read, and I gave it a 5-star. So good. Again, all her books, everyone's a little crazy. And in this book, there's nothing more true. Everyone's a little crazy, to the point, again, where you have no idea who the real monster is. Like, you think you know the monster, and then you're like, at the end. So good. Such a good book. I don't know if I'm going to finish the series, because I hear that the series as a whole is kind of pretty much the same thing, just different font. I don't know. I may, whenever I feel like I need something to spice it up. But so good. If you're wondering about Frida, I think this is a good one to start, but this one will set your expectations high. So maybe don't start, actually. I take that back. This one will set your expectations really high. So maybe start with the other ones I recommended, The Tenant, The Boyfriend, One by One. Okay, so that's all the books I read. Actually, honorable mention, there is one book on here that I did not include because I did DNF it, and it was the last book that my book club was reading. And it is by Andy Weir. I cannot remember the name. Hail Mary Project, I believe is what it's called. I was listening to it on audio, and everyone was talking about it at the time. And it's good. It's not bad. I think that the audiobook does it such a good justice, because I think the narrator is like a godsend. He acts so well when narrating that book. It just didn't grab my attention, and I have not been able to really go back to it yet. Not to say that I won't, because it is going to be a movie, and so I also kind of want to read it before the movie comes out, and I hear everyone loves it so much. They think the ending is so good. So that's my second and only other DNF of this year, besides the Happily Ever After playlist. And in terms of current reads, like I said, I'm currently reading The Strength of the Few, which I think I'll be able to finish and round off this year with 26 read books. And I am halfway through Good Spirits, which is also really, really good. It's just a typical Christmassy romance book. That's literally all there is to say about it. It's so good. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it with The Strength of the Few, because The Strength of the Few right now, I have 200 pages left, and that book is good. That book is really, really good. So we'll see. Other than that, it was a decent year of reading, and if you have made it this far to the end, thank you. It actually means so much to me that you made it all the way to the end, especially because I have literally gone radio silent on this channel. But here's to hoping that 2026 is different, and I am able to get back to what I love, which is not only reading, but making videos and talking to you guys, which may not be a lot, but I still love it either way. So thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.